Hey, what's up? It's Mark Ellert here, everybody. Today, I want to talk to you about the timeline of trauma and how trauma and time can just be a weird thing. Any of my people out there with trauma, you know what I'm throwing down. And anybody out there who doesn't know me, I'm someone with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. One of my traumas was September 2004 at the age of 19. I survived an attempted suicide. Even though I survived my attempt, it caused a traumatic brain injury as well as total blindness for the rest of my life. There's nothing doctors can ever do. So that's why it's something that traumatized me quite a bit. I basically had to completely change my life and the way how I do everything and just how I function. It was just a big life change. So it was pretty traumatizing to me. And that's why the reason I'm making this video, everyone, is because just last weekend, over the 4th of July weekend, it was my 39th birthday. Whoop, whoop. Almost 40, the big 40, baby. I'm still kicking ass and taking names, you know. And I know your 39th birthday isn't necessarily something big to celebrate. To me, it was pretty monumental because my brain injury, my vision loss happened at the age of 19. Now that I'm 39 years old, I've been blind and had my trauma for longer than I had my vision, actually. I've been blind and had my trauma for 20 years when my trauma happened at the age of 19. So it literally feels like an entire lifetime ago. You know, it was more than half of my life, but at the same time, it feels like it was still yesterday. It was such a drastic change. It is something I still feel so disconnected from myself. There's days and times when I literally remember 20 years ago like it was yesterday. I remember the friends and everything I was doing. I remember my lifestyle, where I was at. That's why I can feel really, really disconnected from myself. I'm like, wow, that was so long ago. That's not me. Who am I now? I just question, like, what am I doing? What are the choices I'm making? Who are my friends now? I feel just disconnected from myself and it doesn't feel right. But the thing is, everyone, that's trauma. I have to remember that my trauma happened 20 years ago. Who I am today and who I was 20 years ago, they're completely two different people. Literally, this has been more than half of my life that I've had my vision loss now, and I've learned to accept it. Because basically, if I just basically want my old life, it's physically not possible. I can't get into a time machine. It can't go backwards. I can't go back in time. Your life changes. You know, your circle of friends change, where you're at with your work, the things that you do. Life changes. But that's hard to accept when you've had trauma because we always, it's the trauma's fault. It's the trauma of what changed me, and this isn't what I wanted. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. But I can't change it, everyone. So that's why I always want to go back to 20 years ago, because the trauma is what made who I am today, and I don't want it. It wasn't a choice, but I can't change it. The more I try to fight with it, the more I want something that's physically not possible, the more it's just going to make me want it. The more it's going to torment me and tease me, and the more it's going to make it harder. That's why, everyone, I can remember my life 20 years ago, vivid and clear as day, but I have to accept that was a different lifetime. That was a different person. When I'm starting to do things nowadays, when I'm going about my life doing things, sometimes I find myself thinking, what would old Mark have done? Would old Mark have done this? When I had my vision, would I be acting this way? Would I be doing this kind of stuff 20 years ago? I find myself asking that, and I have to stop. I stop myself and go, Mark, that was 20 years ago. That was a completely different lifetime. That was a completely different person. You're a different person. You don't have your vision anymore. You have to completely learn how to do things a different way. You don't have any of the same friends. You're not working the same job. That was a different life. That was a long time ago. So I have to accept I do things differently now. I'm a different person and I do things differently. Who I was 20 years ago is who I was 20 years ago before my trauma. That's not me to this day. And I've learned to accept it. I've learned to not want that old life. And I've learned to accept I don't want to have to think like that old person. I don't want to say, hey, how would old Mark do this? That was old Mark. That was a long time ago. I'm me, and I'm me in this day and in this time, and I've accepted it. I've accepted the choices I make, and I know I'm running the show here. I'm making good choices. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing this for 20 years, so I know this is me. This is who I am, and I'm doing the do, baby. Everyone, ever since my brain injury, I've been living on my own now for almost a decade, just under 10 years. I have my own apartment, all of my own space. I'm currently working a job in mental health. I do the things that I love. It can seem really hard sometimes when our trauma and how much it's changed us, but we have to accept the changes, that we can't go back. We have to accept this is who we are. This is our reality. And the more you want something you can't have, the more it's going to make you want it, everyone. I know you feel disconnected and the trauma's changed us, we have to accept that disconnection. I can remember that life like it was clear as day 20 years ago, and I have a hard time remembering the things I did yesterday because that's trauma, everyone. It feels hard and you feel disconnected, but you got to remember this is who you are. This is today and this is life. When I had my vision, everyone, it's 20 years ago. It was almost an entire lifetime ago. I've been able to separate myself from that life. I've been able to accept I was a different person and it's not who I am today. So I've been able to not want that, and I've been able to just love the life I live today. When I wake up and get up, I accept this is who I am. I'm blind and I've learned how to operate and function on a great level, and I'm happy and I love it, everyone. I'm happy about the choices that I make because I've been doing so well with myself. Because I've come so far over my trauma, I've accepted I make good choices. I know who I am. I know this is my reality and I'm doing it, everyone. I want you to know you can do the same thing. Our trauma can change us, everyone, but I want you to know you can feel disconnected. Don't try to go back. Accept your changes in who you are, everyone. This is us living the now, man. Everybody, if I can do it, you can do it. This man's 39 years old, everybody. I've been doing this for 20 years now. If I can do it, you can do it, everyone. And everyone, make good choices. Keep it sexy. I'll catch you on the flip side.